You know? Final words. They have a special kind of weight, don't they? Especially when they come from a nation's founding leader. Today, we're diving into what is basically the last will and testament of Moses. This incredible poem from Deuteronomy that's so much more than a farewell. It's a detailed blueprint for the entire future of a people. I mean, that one line just sets this massive stage. Just try to imagine it. You're a leader, you've guided your people for 40 years through the wilderness, and now you're standing right on the edge of the promised land, a land you yourself will never get to enter. So these aren't just some nice parting words. No, these are his final, strategic instructions, a blessing that's going to assign a unique identity and a specific purpose to every single one of the tribes of Israel. So here's how we're going to unpack this whole vision. First, we'll look at it as a national blueprint. Then, we'll get into the tribes who were tasked with power and purpose, the muscle and the mind, if you will. After that, we'll check out those who were blessed with land and plenty, the economic engine. And finally, we'll see how Moses ties it all together with this huge unifying theme, a nation saved by God. Right, so this is not just a collection of pretty poems. Not at all. Moses is thinking like a nation builder here. He's strategically assigning roles, thinking about everything: security, spiritual health, economic stability. Each tribe's blessing is like a carefully placed piece in this giant puzzle, all designed to build a strong, cohesive nation that can actually last. Okay, before we go any further, there's one word you need to know: Jeshurun. It's this poetic, kind of affectionate name for the nation of Israel as a whole. It means the upright one. So whenever you hear Moses use it, he's talking to their collective identity, their shared destiny. Got it? Cool. All right, let's jump into our first group and see how this blueprint starts to take shape. Any nation, if it's going to survive, needs structure and strength. So Moses starts by blessing the tribes that are going to provide the backbone of leadership, law, and military defense. And what's absolutely fascinating here is the clear separation of powers that Moses sets up. On one hand, you've got Judah. They're blessed as the royal military tribe. They're the fighters, the ones who lead in battle. But on the other hand, the tribe of Levi gets a totally different kind of power. They're the keepers of the law, the teachers, basically the nation's spiritual conscience. One provides the physical protection, the other provides the moral compass. And the military might doesn't just stop with Judah. I mean, the imagery Moses uses for Gad and Dan is just, wow, it's fierce. Gad is described as a full-grown lion tearing at armor head, which paints this incredibly vivid picture of a brutal frontline defender. And then you have Dan, who's a lion's cub springing out of Bashan, which suggests something more agile maybe, but just as lethal, a surprising force. This is a multifaceted defense strategy. But then we get to Benjamin, and the blessing is completely different. It's not about being a warrior, it's about divine protection. Benjamin is called the beloved of the Lord and is promised this unique security, this closeness to God. Their strength isn't from their own might. It comes directly from being shielded by a higher power. Okay, so a strong nation needs an army and a moral code. What else? Well, it needs a thriving economy. So, next, Moses turns his attention to the tribes who are going to cultivate the land and generate wealth. This is the foundation of the nation's prosperity. Now, the blessing given to the tribe of Joseph is by far the longest and most lavish. I mean, it's not even close. He's called the prince among his brothers, and he's promised this unbelievable prosperity from literally everywhere: the sky, the deep waters, the sun, the moon, the mountains. He is without a doubt the designated economic powerhouse. And all this prosperity, it translates directly into national influence. The blessing talks about 10,000s coming from Joseph's line. You have to remember, in the ancient world, population was power. A big population meant a big army and a big economy. So this isn't just about having a large family. It's a sign of Joseph's massive strategic importance. But here's the thing. Joseph's blessing isn't just about peaceful abundance. This is where the metaphor gets really intense. He's like a bull with the horns of a wild ox. It shows that their incredible wealth will also fuel a seriously formidable military strength, one that can push back any enemy that comes their way. Other tribes get these really specialized economic roles. Take Zebulun and Issachar. They're blessed with the abundance of the seas and treasures hidden in the sand. I mean, that's a pretty clear pointer towards a future in maritime trade and commerce, right? Harnessing the wealth of the coastline for the whole nation. And then you get to Asher, whose blessing is just one of pure, over-the-top, luxurious abundance. This image of bathing his feet in oil, it's not literal, of course. It's this stunning metaphor for a land so rich in olives that valuable oil would be as common as water. We're talking extreme agricultural prosperity. So after laying out all these individual roles, the warriors, the priests, the farmers, the traders, Moses pulls the camera way back. He ends with this soaring, powerful crescendo that unites all these different parts into one single identity. He kicks off this final section by just declaring how absolutely unique their God is. This isn't some distant, hands-off deity. No, this God is an active participant, a majestic power who literally rides across the heavens specifically to come and help them. That is the source of their collective strength. And this theme of divine protection just gets more and more intense. God is their refuge, a foundation of everlasting arms holding them up. And again, this isn't just passive shelter. It's an active force that goes out ahead of them, driving out their enemies to make sure they're victorious and secure in the land. And this is it. This is the ultimate takeaway, the real source of their blessing and what makes them unique, their relationship with God. He's their shield, their helper, and their glorious sword. All the individual strengths of all the tribes, they're ultimately just tools in the hands of this one single divine protector. So what we're really seeing in Moses' final blessing is a work of nation-building genius. It's brilliant. He takes 12 distinct groups, gives each one a vital role to play, from warrior to priest to farmer, and then masterfully weaves them all together into the shared story of a single nation with one unified, divinely protected destiny. And you know, this ancient blueprint for a nation leaves us with a really powerful question for our own time. Whether it's a sacred text or a secular constitution, how do the founding stories we tell ourselves continue to define who we are, what we value, and how we see our own place in the world? It's something to think about.